I want to tell you a story about a lovely lady who we put into a rental. It was a little duplex. She's one of the reasons actually that I thought about starting this business in the first place. So she lived in a pretty nice area of the Moreton Bay region where I am, and her rent at the time for a 4-bedroom 2-bathroom home was $350, which was normal. That was before all of the huge price increases and all this sort of stuff. So this was probably about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. And she'd been living there for a long time, and she had anxiety, and she had some depression. She was on disability, and she also worked part-time, just a few hours a week, and she had some support dogs, 2 support dogs. And she was probably in her mid-50s, maybe early 60s, somewhere around there. And she had the people that she lived with, because the rents had increased so much, she was still paying $350 for this home, and the owners could have got $650 for it. Sorry, my hair's away. They could have got $650 a week for it. So that's a huge difference. Now, the owners really loved her, and she always looked after the home really well. And they said to her that you need to find somewhere else to live. We'll give you the time that you need to do that, and still charge you that same $350 rent until such time as you find somewhere else. Then, once you have, then we're going to either renovate and update and sell it, or we can re-rent it out for the going market rate, which was nearly double at this stage. So she started looking, and she started looking and looking and looking, and she applied and she applied and she applied for so many rental properties. And when I came across her, she didn't earn enough money. She didn't earn the 30% ratio that you're supposed to be sitting in. But I wanted to find out a bit more about her. So, excuse me, I asked the questions and found out the story of what was happening. So her income was probably more 40%, nearly even 45% with her little bit of work that she did. But when I looked, she didn't have any, there was a rental ledger, but she didn't have a lot of the documentation in her application that she needed to have in there, which is why she was getting overlooked so many times. So she actually was applying a year before I found her. So I went through the application, I got her to send me everything that she needed, added it all in, got it all up to speed. Her landlords loved her. She was an amazing tenant. She loved the house, looked after the house. She was one of these people that they don't move. So she lived in the same home for 10, 12 years. She worked at the same job for 15 years. She gets paid, she pays her rent. She gets paid, she pays her rent. Constantly for 10, 15 years. So she is a reliable tenant. She just didn't instantly meet the criteria that's required. So when we spoke to the owner of the duplex about her, they were happy to give her a go. So she said to me, and I'll never forget it, she said to me, I've been applying for properties for 12 months and you're the first real estate agent who's spoken to me in 12 months. That's just terrible. Like, that is just so terrible. I know that property managers are busy, and I know that when you go to these inspections and you have 30 people rushing through in 15 minutes, giving you their names and rushing out and dealing with, you know, the 50 to 100 applications or whatever you get. I know it's a lot, but 12 months and nobody spotted her. And because of her anxiety and her depression, stepping out and trying to get people to see you is very difficult. It's hard for people who don't suffer with these things. So you can imagine what it's like for people who do suffer with these things. So that happened. We put her in, so she was good and happy and secure. And it just sat with me in the back of my head for a long time. And then when we sold our office, I thought, why can't I do this? Why can't I help people? I'm still a fully licensed real estate agent, and yeah, so that's why I do it. But there's so many stories of people, you know, who do struggle and they don't know where to go. They've got this thing looming ahead of them and they don't know what to do, and they try and they try and they try and they get nowhere. They get nowhere. I've spoken to people over the last week who have applied for hundreds of properties and they're not getting anywhere. Most of those issues will be because of little things not done right in the application or things that were missed. But by it all being online and it all being automated, you're expecting people to have a high level of computer skills, and majority of people just don't. So that's why I did this. But yeah, she always stuck with me, and I just thought that's just so sad. She tried for a year. Lucky her owners were so lovely. But there you go, bit of story time for today.